Jim Casbarro, GAFinestHomes Group, and thanks for tuning in for another episode where we're going to end up exploring resources and information to continue to help you love where you live. And today we're going to end up talking about some market trends and things to keep an eye out for that are happening right now that may affect some of your future decision-making plans in regards to your home or any moving plans you have coming up in the future. So, a couple relevant things that are going on in the marketplace that you should be aware of. So the first thing is we have been in a seller's market pretty much since February of 2012. That's really when we when we actually hit rock bottom from the 2008 crash, and we've been recovering since on an upswing where our market has really been growing since. So right now we are in this kind of special place where we are peaking in the market, and we're about to start going over that bell curve into it slowing down. So one of the things that we're having some pretty deep conversations with some of our investors, or especially buyers right now, who are like thinking to themselves, well, if the market's going to be changing down the road, shouldn't I wait? Or what's the best route for what I can be doing right now? So with the market changing, if you're still thinking about selling your home, probably not with any more than the next year or less, you're still going to be cashing out at more or less the peak. And it's hard to predict these numbers because we don't really know the market has shifted until we look back on it, and it already has. So unfortunately, there's no way to predict these changes in the marketplace. It's really hindsight data and then go, oh, that was the top. So we're very close right now, pretty much coming out of our summer months till now in the winter. The numbers are really starting to become more accurate and looking at it and saying, all right, we really are going to be coming down this peak. So one, it's still a very good time if you're thinking about selling your home before the market starts changing and people's home equity starts going down over time, because a market does have to correct itself. It has to start balancing out of the seller's market we've been increasing in pretty much since 2012. So that's one piece of advice to keep in mind. It's still a good time to sell, cash out now at the top. And this may also be especially true if you're thinking about maybe refinancing your home or pulling out equity in your home. If you want to get as much on the appraisal, because the market's still very good, it's advantageous to do so relatively soon. The second thing, and this is something that is indicative of these other market changes, is we're having more foreclosures hit the market. Now, it has actually been very dry in the foreclosure section, more or less the last, I would even say 2 years, but for sure the last year, there has not been that many foreclosures that have been coming out and being released by bank-owned properties or government entities. And there are specific reasons why those properties don't just all get released, or they do it in cyclical manners as well. But the foreclosure inventory is really picking up right now. So if you are a buyer looking for a deal, for example, which everybody's looking for a deal, but some of these foreclosures are actually starting to turn back into deals, whereas the ones that were getting released in the past, they weren't great because Fannie Mae, HUD, some of these other government government entities that were doing the foreclosure properties, they knew that it was a hyper seller's market, and they actually were even renovating the properties themselves, trying to get more equity out of them or a higher price. And they were also pretty much listing them very close to fair market value instead of actually where they should have been under market value, right? So there actually are starting to have the beginnings of new foreclosure properties coming out that are going to have more equity in them because they're better deals. So it's another thing to keep in mind. And then the third thing is interest rates are still really good. Now, historically, we have seen interest rates, and this was before my time, but there are homeowners who had interest rates in the teens, sometimes high teens. Historically, 18% was about the highest in the 80s. And then right now, we have been really benefiting from very, very historically low interest rates. Like the very low threes was the lowest ever like since 1902 when we started tracking these pieces of information in the real estate industry. So keep those three things in mind. It's still a very good time to sell your home because we're pretty much at the peak and it's going to be changing. There are more foreclosure properties hitting the market, and this is going to keep rolling out over the next year or so. So there's more deals actually entering the market to pick up as a buyer or an investor. And then the third thing is interest rates are still really good. So as of right now, when we're recording this video, we're looking at about a 5% conventional loan if we're looking at like par rates. You can still kind of get some under the high fours range, but it's gonna have to start going up over time. We're so much on borrowed time in terms of the Fed increasing it to bring up interest rates. They don't want to slow the economy down. And by keeping the interest rates low, if the Fed doesn't keep raising them higher, it allows more people to enter the market. Things are cheaper, there's more activity, it spurs the economic growth. That needs to slow down historically to kind of catch back up, because things have been increasing so much in value that peak needs to kind of, the bubble, so to speak, needs to pop and then reset itself. So we're going to be experiencing that. It's going to be a slow, gradual process. It's not going to be a 2007 market crash. But those are three things to keep in mind right now that are really important in our local marketplace that you can take advantage of. So if you're thinking about doing anything this year related to real estate, let us know your plans. I'd be happy to kind of go through a specific, just for you and your home, plan to take advantage of the market, maybe just talk through some stuff to see if it's advantageous to do something in the marketplace, whether you've thought about maybe is it a good time to get into an investment opportunity, pull some equity out of your home, refinance it in that manner, or just stay put and just say, you know what, it's not good for you to move right now, ride it out. So anyway, I hope those pieces of information help. And like always, I'm here if you need anything from me. Feel free to reach out, call me, text me, email me, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for tuning in.